Hey guys, what a great start for a suspense and mystery movie. Want to know what happened? They were in one of those scary forests, you know? A deer was there, all chill, looking at us like saying, "Hey, what's up?" But suddenly, boom, a tentacle from another planet appears and wham, grabs the poor little deer. Oh, and wait, that's not all. Next, we're taken to Ruth and Harry, two lovebirds who are all, "Let's hit the road and have an adventure." After a while, they thought, "Hey, what if we stop for a bit and eat something?" And that's how they ended up at El Pai Grande. Do you know it? Well, if you ever go there, order what they did. While they're digging into their meals, a waiter with a "something's off here" look asks if they saw a red star fall. Harry, all confused and chuckling, clearly has no idea what the guy's talking about. And of course, I thought, that's definitely related to that extraterrestrial tentacle. After filling their bellies, they decide to explore the Ret Rich Trail. Harry, with his "nothing can go wrong" attitude, keeps trying to convince Ruth. And even though she's like, "I don't know, Harry," he persuades her with his smooth talk, comparing it all to driving a car and saying it's safer. So, armed with their backpacks, these two head off into the forest. And off we go. While walking through the forest, Harry, being himself, started talking about some horror movie he watched. But Ruth, with that kind of intuition some people have, felt something strange going on, even though she tried to play it cool and act like nothing was wrong. Harry, noticing that night was almost upon them, urged her to move faster. After walking and walking, they got tired and said, "Hey, let's set up the tent right here." So they set up camp and crawled inside to rest. But listen up, when the night got really quiet, Ruth stepped out of the tent and felt someone's gaze. You know what I mean? When she looked around, oh, surprise! There was a deer staring at her, but with a really weird expression. And just when she was about to freak out, boom, Harry appears and almost scares her to death. She tells him everything, and he, all relaxed, says it's normal, especially if it's a young and playful deer. Morning came, and guess what? Everything changed. Harry, super excited, takes Ruth to a really cool spot from which they can see the ocean, that whole vast blue expanse. Can you imagine it? Well, in that lovely place, Harry gets all sentimental and bam, pulls out a ring. Yes, an engagement ring. But oh man, when Ruth sees it, it's as if someone startled her. She looks like she's about to faint, right there at the edge of the lookout point. But Harry, with his quick reflexes, grabs her and saves her. Later, once things calm down, Ruth tells him that even though she loves him a lot, marriage just isn't something she can handle, despite them having been together for 6 years. Harry, feeling sad, had thought that after so long she wouldn't be afraid anymore. But he realizes maybe her own backstory, like her parents' failed marriage, left its mark. Also, he knows Ruth goes to a therapist, but he figures she doesn't talk much there, just goes for the pills. Life and its complications, right? The next day, when the sun starts to rise, Ruth wakes up and guys, she finds a note from Harry. In the note, Harry says he left for a while to think, to sort out his thoughts. Ruth, feeling guilty about the ring, decides it's time to talk to her therapist. So she goes further into the forest, looking for a cell signal. But here comes the nasty part. She finds a deer with its head split in half and some black sticky stuff all over. And while she's in shock at what she just saw, surprise, Harry shows up, and Ruth is even more freaked out seeing that poor deer. Harry thinks maybe it was a virus or something like that, and suggests they go back to the campsite, eat something, and relax. Ruth, suspicious of all the weirdness in the forest, lets Harry convince her, as he says their campfire will protect them from any strange things out there. That forest keeps its secrets. Imagine them there, 2000, chatting, and Ruth, in a sentimental mood, confesses to Harry that she loves him, but worries that love might fade over time. She lays it out clearly. Getting married would only make it worse if that happens. The next day, Ruth, in explorer mode, takes a walk through the forest and comes upon a flower she had read about in a book. And here's the crazy part. The flower had a hidden entrance to a cave. Can you believe it? And don't even start with what Ruth finds inside. That cave was lit by a super cool bright blue liquid. But that's not it. Because something in there scared her so badly that she ran out screaming like she'd seen a ghost. Harry, who seems to have a sixth sense for these things, chases after her like a hound. He finds her all shaken up, like she'd seen something from the beyond. And even though she didn't spill all the gossip, you could tell that cave affected her somehow. Just a second for you, and it helps me a ton. Now, at night, Harry notices Ruth isn't in the tent. He looks for her and finds her outside gripping a knife. Seriously? She says she heard a predator or something. Harry convinces her to go back, but she stays up all night, eyes lost in thought. You're left wondering what the hell happened in that cave, bro. As the first light of day comes, they both get ready to picar piedra, zweitausendien, hit the road or get going. Ruth, shy but hopeful, comes clean with Harry about the scene she made the day before. Here's the surprise. She says she's been thinking about marriage again. Her face lights up in a way that's contagious, and Harry, without a second thought, decides to propose to her again in the same spot as before. Now picture this scene. The two of them standing in front of a super cool cliff. Harry, with all the feels, kneels down and takes another shot, asking Ruth to marry him. She, full of a vibe that charges your batteries, says yes. All excited, they share a movie-worthy kiss, and Harry blurts out that he's never been so happy. But wait, things take a 180-degree turn. Out of nowhere, Ruth, as if she had a short circuit in her brain, strikes Harry and in a sudden outburst pushes him off the cliff. When he falls, Harry ends up zweitausendien, dead. Ruth, seeing what she's done, runs off, but as she runs, she feels off and gets super dizzy. She tries to keep it together, but her body says no more, and she collapses. Dude, I'm about to drop the next part of Ruth's drama. Get ready, because this is some wild stuff. Not long after Ruth passes out, a coupley young Asian guy and his girlfriend come across her on the ground. When Ruth comes to, they offer her water. And even though they want to call emergency services, boom, no signal. So they decide to help Ruth themselves, lighting a campfire so she won't get cold. While chatting, they notice Ruth doesn't have her backpack, which seems super weird. But Ruth is totally out of it and says she doesn't remember anything. To not pressure her, the girlfriend asks about her hobbies, just to break the ice, and with good vibes they say they'll take her to the nearest ranch when morning comes. Things get more intense because Ruth, with a fixed stare, can't take her eyes off the Asian guy's knife. While his girlfriend whispers to him about how strange Ruth is acting, Ruth suddenly lunges for the knife. They freak out and beg her to let it go. But then they hear footsteps nearby and boom! Harry appears like nothing's wrong. The Asian guy goes into defense mode, but Harry pulls a long needle out of his finger and wham, cuts the guy's arm. That's when you realize Harry isn't himself. It's like he turned into some violent extraterrestrial. Ruth, terrified, takes off running, but the Asian girl is chasing her, totally confused. Without a second thought, Harry attacks the girl, knocks her down, and plunges that needle into her head, killing her instantly. The alien Harry finds Ruth and picks a fight, asking how she found out his true nature. Ruth, crying, says she found Harry's real body in a cave a few days ago, and it traumatized her. Turns out there was an alien that first pretended to be a nosy bear spying on the couple, and then transformed into Harry. Crazy, right? The alien copied everything. His look, his memories, even his feelings. These extraterrestrials want to take over Earth. This imposter's job was to gather data before the rest arrived. The alien Harry tried to get rid of Ruth, but couldn't. Why? Because of the love Harry felt for Ruth. No matter how he stole his body and mind, that feeling remained. When Ruth tried to escape, the alien chased her. She tried defending herself with a stick, but it didn't harm him. Instead of attacking her, he tried to calm her down. The extraterrestrial confessed it wasn't the first time he took over a body, but he'd never felt anything like love. According to him, only we humans feel love like this. He proposed that he and Ruth run away together to another planet. Ruth notices something familiar at the alien Harry's waist, a knife. Clever and worthy of an Oscar, she kisses him to trick him and takes advantage of that romantic moment to stab him right in the heart. Then, in a move worthy of an action movie, Ruth dives into the water. But this alien Harry doesn't give up and follows her. Just when she thought she could escape, bam! The smell of blood attracted a giant shark that went straight for Harry. Ruth, thinking she's finally free, swims back to shore. But surprise! The alien, wounded and all, emerges from the water like nothing happened. These aliens and their regeneration abilities. Back at her little campsite, Ruth, with her stomach growling, finds something to eat, but she feels weird and decides to take her medicine. Just when she thought she was safe, nasty-looking tentacle grabs her from behind. Dude, I swear, it was like a movie. The alien says something like, "Why run if I just want to take care of you?" Then, to leave everyone's heart in their throat, we see Ruth trapped in the same strange cocoon where Harry had been before. This extraterrestrial took his place. What madness. What happened next is one of those twists that leave you thinking. The alien, with all its power, decides to make a radical change. It starts mutating, transforming its face. And I'm here, blown away, because suddenly, bam, it becomes an identical copy of Ruth. And yes, there it is, with two sets of emotions, Harry's and now Ruth's. It feels the deep and genuine love Ruth had for Harry, and it also feels the sorrow in Ruth's heart. The extraterrestrial, overwhelmed by this emotional whirlwind, tells her it will carry that pain for her. And even though you might think, "Dude, why?" He says it's because somehow, after experiencing all that Ruth feels, now he loves her. But here's the curious part. He can't handle all that pain. It's like he has an emotional glitch. Ruth, as smart as she is, decides to use that anguish to her advantage. She talks to the alien about pain, about how it's an essential part of being human. To rub salt in the wound, she starts recalling her darkest traumas. Her mother's confinement, her father's bitter moments. These heavy memories overwhelm the extraterrestrial. It searches for Ruth's pills, looking for an escape from all that torment. But there are none left. Ruth's masterstroke. Those dark moments were too much for the poor alien. Ruth, like the warrior she is, frees herself and, in an unexpected twist, wham, attacks it with a stone right to the head. I definitely didn't see that coming. Relieved to have shaken off that big problem, Ruth sets off. 2010. But as they say, if something can go wrong, it will. The alien comes back for more. Not even the stone could stop it. Ruth gets into her car and drives off, turning on the radio. What she hears will give you goosebumps. It's the extraterrestrial, threatening that it will find her. But Ruth, with all the firmness in the world, turns the radio off. And when you think that's the worst of it, you look up at the sky and holy crap, red stars everywhere, more aliens arriving. Let me tell you, brother, what that scene implies is intense. Maybe these extraterrestrials aren't ready for human resistance, with all its emotions and traumas. Here we go, humanity. Let's show them what we're made of.
Awesome.